I invite you to turn to one another and greet each other in your unique light and holiness and worth and dignity. I am Reverend Bob Renjilian. I am the minister here at the Unitarian Universalist of Transylvania County. It's so good to welcome you here on this gorgeous morning. So much better than last Monday. I mean, I like cold and snow, but I'm kind of glad that it went away as well. So, but good to see you all here. And some of you I recognize as people I don't recognize, which may mean it's your first time, maybe a second time. We'd love to get to know you better. We'll have coffee and conversation after the service in the social hall, so we hope you'll stay around and be part of all of that with us and keep on coming back. Good to have us all here. I have a few announcements just briefly. One is kind of important. If you are in a support group, a meditation group, something that goes on in the yellow house, we had to shut off the water. We have found out that there is something in the water line between the meter and the house where we're losing a gallon every 10 minutes. And we got a nice big bill, and we said, no. So we have shut off the water to the house until we can figure out what happens. So which means if you're in a support group over there and you say, oh, I'll use the bathroom over there. No, you won't. So just come on over here for those needs. We have a couple of interesting services coming up. Each of us has been touched by grief in our lives. And when we come into the holiday season, it may be that all the jingle bells and fa-la-la-la-las and everything just don't jibe with the way we're feeling about an empty seat at our table, a place in our heart with needing a little more, well, somberness. So we have a service each year, usually on the first Sunday of each year as a sunset service, in which I will be reading various quotes and readings that go along with the season, but in a calmer way. John will be playing some songs from the holiday, but they are, again, a little more meditative in how we get into this. You do not have to be a Unitarian Universalist to want to have grief at the holidays. I mean, why do you want to have grief at the holidays? Actually, I think it's a gift. I think it's a gift to know that you have been touched by love in the presence of someone, and at the holidays, maybe especially, to know that there's a place you can go and have that recognized. We are advertising this to other congregations. I work with pastors in Brevard here, and we'll be advertising it to them as well. So it may be we have more than a handful of folks. But even if it's just 2 or 3, we hope that you'll come for that lovely, quiet, somber evening. Now, just before that happens, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, we have our Interfaith Service of Thanks, which has been going on for a few years here. This year, Veronita Alford, the minister of the Brevard First United Methodist Church, will be the featured speaker, but we have somebody from the Jewish community, we have somebody from the Episcopal Church, we have somebody, I hope, from the Catholic Church. It's a chance for all of our faiths to say thank you. Meister Eckhart said that's the best prayer ever, just those 2 words, thank you. So we invite you that Tuesday evening, 6:30 p.m. for that thanks service. those were the most major announcements, except again, we will be selling tickets for the Dinner Anywhere. And we would like you to ask if you can check out a pack of 10 and go sell them to your friends, your neighbors, or start getting your stocking stuffers ready for that. There are only a few people who are not eligible to win. I'm one of them. But just about anybody on an RK, you can't win either. So just about anybody here could imagine what it would be like to head off anywhere in the world for dinner for two. So please, go out in the lobby, talk to the people who are selling the tickets. We're helping our teens take on sales for us, and it's been going pretty well. And some of them have very neat handwriting, and that is going very well too. So we'll record. I didn't say that about RK. All right. Michael Jeffrey Stevens will now lead us into the spirit of worship with our prelude.
Chalice lighting words should be up on the screen. We'll recite in unison. We light this chalice in gratitude for all that is. Let us pause, breathe, and remember we are enough just as we are. The soul does not need perfection to be whole. Only honesty, gentleness, and space to grow.
This is the time we light candles for those we have in our thoughts. I have one from Christy and I for her father, who went to have some medical tests this week and hoping for health and recovery. We have, I believe, as well, a candle for hoping for peace in this world. That as we enter this season of Thanksgiving and go into our lives, knowing that we will be singing in a month about peace on earth, goodwill to all, that it is not yet achieved. And one more candle for those things not yet shared, perhaps held in the hearts of those here in this room or online. Spirit of love and life, we lift up each of these candles as a prayer, as a way of knowing that as we repeat to ourselves again and again the ways in which we care for one another in our joys and in our sorrows, we are weaving the fabric of compassion. We are celebrating life in a place in which we are enriched and safe. O Spirit of love and life, may the glow of these candles continue through this service and in our hearts. Blessed be, amen. Would you remain seated and sing prayerfully with us, Spirit of Life? Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Today's reading is For What Shall We Give Thanks? The author is Laura Horton Ludwig. She spent 20 years as a minister in the UU congregations from Illinois to California to Virginia, and now she's serving in a fellowship in a Santa Cruz County ministry. The wheel of the year has turned again. Once more, the Thanksgiving season has arrived. How shall we sing our song of gratitude now? For what shall we give thanks? For this moment, for friends far and near, for our breath, for love, for courage and clarity, for strength, for delight, for laughter, for beauty, for the tables around which we gather, for the food we enjoy with friends, seasoned with love and memory, for the sun and the moon and the stars in the sky, for the trees who have seen so much but still stand proud, reaching themselves into the sky, for the bright voices of children, for the wisdom of elders, for actions that bless the world, for hard work that makes a difference, for music and art and celebration, for generosity, for compassion, for endurance, for joy, for hope. For all these things we give thanks as we worship together. The opening hymn is number 110, We Give Thanks. Please stand as you're able.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. We give thanks for this precious day.
Good morning. My name's Kevin, and this is the Wisdom for All Ages story. And the story is called The Moon Cannot Be Stolen. And it's a Zen koan story. And in the Zen tradition, the koan stories make us stop and rethink what we're thinking, makes us try to look at life in a different way and reveal something new to us. And in this story, there is the Zen Buddhist Ryokan, and he was a famous Zen master in Japan. Well, Ryokan was a very simple man. He lived simply in nature, listening to the wind and watching the water flow by on a little river. And he had very few material possessions and lived very simply. Well, one night the Zen master was out walking on his evening walk, and a thief broke into his hut. And Ryokan returned home and discovered the thief there, but he didn't get angry. He said, "Well, thank you for coming so far to visit me. And I always want to give a visitor something to take home with them. And I don't want you to leave empty-handed. But as you can see, I have very little here. So, not sure what to do, Ryokan said, 'Here, take my clothes.' And the only clothes he had, he took them off and gave them to the thief. Well, the thief was shocked. He didn't know what to do and stunned, and he just turned and ran away with the clothes in his hand. And so Ryokan sat down and looked out the window at the sky, and he thought to himself, "Poor fellow, I could have given him this beautiful moon." And what I love about this story is that it makes us stop for a minute and to think and to open our hearts and then to say we can look at the world with love and with gratitude, because we can always look at it as all that we're missing or lacking. But if we turn it around to look at it with gratitude, we can see that no matter what's been taken away from us, there is something still to be thankful for. And we'll ask Jake to come up with the candle, and we'll sing our kids out.
We had a really good introduction last week about Sharing House. Donna, thank you again for helping us understand all the things that Sharing House does. What you may not know is every once in a while, Sharing House calls on me and asks if I could give something from our minister's discretionary fund, because it's not only the amount that we put in the envelopes today that might happen to go their way to help their many programs, but every once in a while, they run into a family in the community who needs a little extra just to make it through. And I know that they don't call me all the time. It's just every now and then, maybe once every 4 months or something. There's something big, and they ask several churches to get together and put some money in. Now, during this time of food anxiety, as people are still figuring out whether they're getting the money they need and whether they can afford to eat, I also point out that Sharing House and Bread of Life and other agencies are making a difference. We can too. You can come to me and ask if you need something as well, because a gift of this congregation is that every December at Christmas Eve, we replenish the minister's discretionary fund, and we have a little extra for each of you if you need it. We can't do that unless spiritually we have our hearts open. Even if you feel like you have given everything in your hut like the monk sitting there, the Zen master saying, I got to give the thief something more. I will ask you, give up your clothes. I will ask you, give up your canned goods. I will ask you to give up just a little bit more, because it's a spiritual exercise to do so. We will now gratefully receive the morning offering. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Michael. What's given in love, we receive with great joy and say, thank you. For our moment of prayer, I came across a prayer in Parabola magazine from fall of 2014 from Richard Packham called Atheist Prayer. And I will share that with you. I think you'll know where he stole it from. Our powers are within, whatever be their name. Whatever they have done, what still may come, this earth can be as heaven. Live then this day, and without dread, and forgive your own trespasses, as you would forgive those who trespass against you. And be not led into temptation, but flee away from evil. For time is the healer, with power to restore me forever and ever. Amen. May we hold this prayer and the prayers of our hearts, the meditations of our minds in the silence. In the names of all those known and unknown, remembered and forgotten, in the names of all the helpers of humankind, we say amen. Blessed be.
I got Jews here. Good morning. I want to say two things to you. First place, I don't know how many of you can see the choir loft from where you sit, but there's one empty seat, which means that when Vanessa and Ian Cowie return from their travels in Tuscany, wherever they are, they're going to have to share a chair. I almost couldn't get that out. The other thing is a little story that I want to share. Back in the late 1850s, somewhere in central Alabama, my grandfather's grandfather had just died, and they were reading his last will and testament. Among the possessions that he gave to his children and grandchildren and maybe others were 3 slaves. The man he gave to his son to help run the farm. The woman he gave to his daughter to take care of her mother and the household. And the third was a young teenage girl whom he gave to his granddaughter to be her slave. The song that we sing this morning is Deep River, which is what we now call one of the Negro spirituals, which grew out of the tradition of what the slaves sang back in the 1850s and on forward from there. We first began to transcribe them after the war, after the Great Civil War in the 1880s. And this is a transcription which was first published in 1913 by Henry Burleigh. We're going to sing for you Deep River. My home is over Jordan. It's all about the Jordan River and going to campground, which is over on the other side of the deep river, Jordan.
When I was a young man, back home from college, I tried helping out running youth group at my home congregation. I joined with another person who had been a youth just a year or two ahead of me, and now we were in our 20s, and we were going to support as best as possible a teen program in our little congregation. Then I went off again, and I did pipe organ building. And then when I got laid off from pipe organ building, I went to theological school to study to be a minister. And while I was studying, my brother and his fiance said, "Bob, can you marry us?" And I wasn't licensed. I wasn't approved. I couldn't do the actual wedding. But I could do the ceremony if the local minister would allow it, and then have someone else sign the legal papers. That's quite a treat to be able to do a family wedding. I really appreciated being asked, and it meant a lot to me. But I knew that I had to go to that minister and ask and see, is it okay with you? We started making this plan before the congregation brought you on, called you as minister. Is it okay if I continue to do this for my brother and my soon-to-be sister-in-law? And that minister was Barbara Peskin. Barbara Peskin had lost out on a congregation before coming to our little Connecticut congregation. Lost out because she and her partner were out lesbians. And that congregation that had thought that they would have her, their search team said, "This is the best minister in the world available to us right now." Congregation said, I don't know if we're ready for this. This is the 1980s. 1970, Unitarian Universalists had voted to be sure that we would be supportive of gay, lesbian, bisexual folks. But that congregation wasn't ready. But the congregation I grew up in was. They probably didn't deserve her ministry. She was, soon after she had served them, sent to one of the biggest, most prestigious congregations in the upper Midwest and showed her true chops there instead of that tiny little congregation I'd been in. Barbara Peskin's poetry had meaning to me. Not only did she graciously say, "Of course you can do your brother's wedding. Thank you for asking. What a great collegial move you made, Bob." But I would read her stuff, and it was put into the hymn book. And this is reading number 506 in our hymn book, and I think it fits the season and the theme. May the glory of the passing away of autumn lie about us, fresh gold for a time. And when the dark comes and the cold, may we remember how today we stand in glory, how we walk in bounty heaped upon earth's dark carpet, how we move knee-deep in abundance flung against the winter night's curtain. We are thankful for its coming and for its passing. Let it be. The sermon theme that I picked for today is practice gratitude, and I quoted in the little blurb that went out to you and in the Transylvania Times, Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel's quote, slightly abbreviated, which says, only one response can maintain us: gratefulness for witnessing the wonder. It is gratefulness which makes the soul great. Thought, wow, that's going to be a great sermon. And then I went on retreat. And I got to go to the mountain. And some of you went to the retreat a month ago, the UUTC retreat a month ago at the mountain. And I can tell you the weather was vastly different up there on that mountain. When we arrived on Monday, we were driving through driving snow. Up 4,000 feet up in the air to the top. The snow was often going this way. It accumulated overnight on Monday night, and as one of my colleagues was coming out of their cabin to head over to breakfast, decided they'd walk through the white, wintry wonderland and took the path through the fire pit area, and then stumbled and slipped and fell, and instead of getting breakfast, got an ambulance ride. My heart goes out to my colleague who will be facing some surgeries now, but was able to use a wheelchair and prop up her foot and be part of the rest of our retreat, but always with help. Only one response can maintain us, Rabbi Joshua Heschel, Abraham Joshua Heschel reminded us: gratefulness for witnessing the wonder, gratefulness which makes the soul great. And we did throughout that retreat. But before I do gratefulness, something else we learned on the retreat. Do you know the I love you? So I love you. And so you kind of do this. But our leader said, this is you Spider-Man. And so we're going to build the interdependent web. You all ready for this? With I love you? Come on, do it with me. Nice web in here. And I'm going to share this with Kevin. I really appreciate the creativity that colleagues will share with one another. And we're laughing among us. We're like, yeah, I've got an order of service to turn in, but I'm doing webs. So we can even appreciate fun things that break up our otherwise monotonous existence. I think we can. The original meaning of the word appreciate, and this is a quote, the original meaning of the word appreciate means to move towards what's precious. Practicing gratitude is a type of leaning in towards being truly present. It is a practice that re-engages our aliveness, that awakens us to what is precious. And that's Mark Knipo, who had that quote. Appreciate. See, I can appreciate the beauty of the snow. I can appreciate the golden leaves. I can appreciate fun little things that break up the day. I can appreciate the love of the folks around me. And this is a practice, and this is a way in which we do, in fact, reach closer to what I said early, Meister Eckhart's thank you prayer. Thank you. Thank you for, after having given away everything I have to the thief, thank you for the moon that I would love to share with others. Thank you for the love and connections. Thank you, as I said earlier, for the grief I feel, because it means I knew love and connection that was special and important. Among the people that need help in this Transylvania County, thank you for heat. Thank you for food. Thank you for the air that we breathe, because I'm sorry, on Friday it stank as the 1,200 acres were being control burned over in Pisgah Forest. Thank you for the beautiful music and the joined chorus. Thank you for the piano, for our pianist, for our guest musicians. Thank you for the light that streams in through the stained glass. Thank you for, what was it the atheist prayer said? For time as a healer. Thank you for enough time to heal from the injuries, from the hurts, from the terrors. Thank you for the forgiveness that I can grant to myself. Thank you to those who forgive me. What did that prayer say? And be not led into temptation. I touched on that last week in saying sometimes we rush so quickly into having our Black Friday sales that we forget that the temptation to buy our way into happiness is nowhere near as profound as just looking around and finding. Thich Nhat Hanh said, have you lost your smile? Look for it. The dandelion has your smile. For me, to appreciate every bit that I have helps me be able to face what's going on in the world that I so much abhor. The candle that I ask that we light this morning for peace in this world, for knowing that there is not peace, that there are folks who are suffering in war-torn conditions. I appreciate that there is a museum which removed the reference to the ways African Americans were being treated, because that is part of federal funding or direction. I appreciate that John Austin would have the introduction he had from his heart to the song that was so beautifully offered up by the choir. Only one response can maintain us, and that is gratefulness for witnessing the wonder, and it's gratefulness which makes the soul great. I'm being very quiet in this sermon because I know that the clamor of what's going on out there needs to be balanced with the gratitude for the spaces we can come to for safety and reflection. For our own spirits to thrive, we know we need to not be worried about where our next meal is coming from, or to be too thirsty. We have not walked through desert lands to come on to these United States. Most of us, all of us perhaps, don't have that in our history. But there are people who have and have thirsted. We know, most of us, where our next meal will come from or who to ask to help us get one. And that means we can go a step further and love one another and reach out to one another and share a wonderful Wednesday with one another, and then go and give and give and give to Bread of Life from the topic from Wednesday. Or know that someone will help us. Gratefulness makes the soul great because we then go up the escalator to yet the next level of spirituality. To be able then to have a perspective back to where we've been. We sang, "Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for those gathered near and far away." We sang, "Spirit of life, come unto me," because we had a moment in which we could sit with others and mean that. Spirit of life, come unto me. And as our final hymn for today, we will be singing number 128, "For all that is our life, we give our thanks and praise." And if you haven't already leaned into appreciation, do so in that song or in some moment this afternoon. Jot down a few things that you appreciate. Put it up on your refrigerator or on your bathroom mirror or someplace where you can reflect on it after you have been jangled and unnerved by some other things going on. Lean into appreciation again and again. Would you join me? Rise as you're willing and able in singing number 128. It's said that the power of one candle is known best in the darkness, and that one candle then brings out shadow, thereby emphasizing darkness. May we cherish the moments in which we light this flame. May we carry something of that light into the world to bring some sparkle, some wonder, some guide that we might be saying with praise, thank you for this day. Though we extinguish this chalice, we are not extinguishing our light. Though this helper candle is extinguished, we don't stop being helpers. Blessings on all of you as you go out and then return again in joy.